The biggest fear in the world is connected to Hebrew. Are you ready? Okay, so first of all, hi, my name is Noah, and I want to start with thank you for each and every one of you here. My channel has passed the 1,000 subscribers, and I know it doesn't seem a lot in YouTube land, but for me, it's like a million. It's huge. It's 1,000 people that I can connect with, and I can teach Hebrew, and I get your comments and emails, and I get to meet some of you, and for me, it's a lot. It's amazing. So I want to thank you for commenting, liking, subscribing, sending me emails, connecting. It's just so much fun for me, and it's more than I expected. So thank you very, very much. So let's go to the topic. And this video is very important because I think a lot of teachers, and me included, we teach how to speak, how to understand, which is very important, how to read, how to write, vocabulary, grammar, a language. But there's one thing that not a lot of teachers talk about, and this is a key factor and a game changer for us to go from learning a language and learning and learning and learning to speaking a language. And it's a huge difference. And this difference sits upon this biggest fear in the world, and it's connected also to Hebrew, but not just to Hebrew. So yeah, just wanted to see that it's recording. So the biggest fear in the world is not to die. It's not the fear of death. The fear of death is actually just the second fear statistically. And this statistic was researched again and again over a lot of groups of people, many times, different years, and it still stays the same. Every time I check, it's the same result. So the fear of death is only second. The first fear, the biggest fear that people have is stage fright. So we're saying that people are more afraid to speak in front of people than they are to die. Yes, but when we understand the real reason for stage fright, it doesn't seem so weird. The real reason for stage fright, because stage fright is the title, it's what we see outside, it's how it manifests, but the huge, deep reason for it is that we are afraid of rejection. And rejection, for us human beings, we are a social creature, can mean death. So maybe you'll say, well, not today, maybe once upon a time we had to be in tribes and groups. Well, I will say and actually insist that we need it today as well. But even if we don't, even if technology really evolved, we don't evolve so fast in our primal brain, in this reptile brain even, right? This primal part of us that needs a tribe and needs people to accept us. And if we say something wrong, then they might reject us and we'll be alone. And this is survival. Now take this fear that exists anyway, even when people speak their mother tongue, and now put in this equation, add to this equation, how do you say it? See, sometimes obviously, it's, again, when we don't speak our mother tongue, sometimes we're not sure, but we're going to talk about it in a minute. When we put to this equation, when we put to this equation a new language, a second language, which we're not proficient in, which we're not sure. We don't know the words a lot of the times. We mispronounce, just like I said. We have grammar mistakes. We're all those things. Then we just took the biggest fear in the world and multiplied it by I don't know how much. And what happens is that people don't address this issue. And so they learn grammar, reading, writing, and speaking, and vocabulary, and all this, and nouns, and verbs, but they never use it because it's so scary. And then what's the point of learning a language? There's no point. The biggest thing that we need to understand is that the only people who don't make mistakes ever are those who don't do anything ever. Those who never build a successful business never build a successful business, but they never fail at building a business. Those who stay alone and never connect with people or go and find that relationship that they want, they never get the relationship that they want, but they never fail in that relationship. Those who never make mistakes in Hebrew, they will never speak Hebrew, but they will never make mistakes in Hebrew. I think you get my drift. And you know what the interesting side of it is? The judgmental part. When we're talking about a second language, if this is not your mother tongue, then people are not judgmental to us, towards us. They understand. It's not your mother tongue, it's not your first language, it's your second language. You're a student. And sometimes you'll be student for life. I will always learn English, but it doesn't mean I can't use it and have fun and create connections and teach on YouTube and have friends across the world and students and teachers across the world. It doesn't mean that I have to be perfect. It doesn't mean that you have to be perfect. That's not the point. The point is to have these mistakes, to not edit yourself all the time. I put my mistakes here on YouTube because this is life, this is truth, this is how things happen. It's not always perfect and edited. Sometimes we can do it, but it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. Celebrate your mistakes. Enjoy it. You're a student. This is the time. If ever there was a time to make mistakes, is when you are a student. I want to give an example before I finish this video, and I think it's a very important thing to start putting in your head and changing in this mindset. And when I work with my students, well, I work with acting, because one of the things that freed me from stage fright and the fear of speaking in front of people in general and in English was learning acting. And so when I connected to learning Hebrew, it doesn't matter if it's a real stage and we learn acting in Israel and workshops that I do in different places, or even online. We do dialogues and fun exercises, improvisations and games and songs. When people realize that it's not really so terrible, it's not so, they don't need to fear it, actually it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. We're kids. We are supposed to play all the time, if you ask me. This is my point of view of life. Then suddenly, not only it's very joyful, they gain a confidence to speak Hebrew and to speak in front of people in general. So I want to give an example for it, not from theater, not from my world, but actually from a world that I'm not connected to at all, and I know nothing about, I can say. But my boyfriend, my spouse, told me about MMA. I'm not sure if you are familiar, but it's mixed martial arts. And I've never heard about it. I don't know anything about martial arts, but I understood. He explained, and I understand this. This is a very intense martial art. It's a mix of martial arts, and it's one of the most intense, even violent martial arts out there. And the battles are kind of violent. They're real, they're strong. You need to be very, very strong to be in it. It's not for everyone. And what he told me amazed me and blew my mind. He told me that when they train, one side gives the punches and the other side just stands there passively. And then they switch, obviously, but the person just standing there getting punched. And it's pretty strong. Again, if you know this form of martial art, it's pretty strong. It's not soft and beautiful. It's intense. And what happens to the person standing is that their body is starting to get small little fractures in the bone, in the body. What happens then is that the body then sends a lot of calcium because it understands that there's a problem, that it needs to fix it with a lot more calcium. And doing it every training again and again and again, more fractures, more calcium, the result is that that person, the density of the bone starts to be very, very high. And the bone is very strong because of this calcium and this density. Very, very strong. So it actually strengthens the body, the little fractures. And it's exactly what we're talking about now. The little mistakes or the big mistakes that you make means that you're using the language, means that you get stronger. And the density of the Hebrew is not, we don't have density in Hebrew, we have proficiency. And now, not only I learn Hebrew and I maybe remember words and I understand the patterns, but I'm starting to use it. And the biggest success that I aim with my students is not just to learn and not even just to speak, but to feel at home, to let your personality shine, to be who you are in this new language. To be funny, to be weird, to be interesting, to be charismatic, to be romantic, to be whatever you want to be in this new language. This is a success. So every little milestone is a success. But the aim goal is not to keep on learning and learning and learning for the rest of your life, but to use it. See that I didn't say the biggest success is to be perfect in a language. It's a lifetime learning a language. There are no magic wands, but that is not important because you don't need to know everything to start speaking to people and actually having even very deep and meaningful conversations, I would say. So it's not about perfect. This is not success. Perfection is not success. Using it, enjoying it, feeling comfortable in it, this is success. So I hope that maybe I opened something new for you guys, maybe things that you already know, but sometimes we need a good reminder from outside. I need it as well for a lot of things. And I want to thank you again for commenting, liking, being here with me. I just love you guys. ואני שולחת חיבוק גדול לכולכם.